Hi guys, I'm here to give you some editing tips since I'm smack dab in the middle of editing about 4 books at the same time and crazy like that. So I'm going to give you a few tips of what I do when I edit, so I hope you guys enjoy this video. The very first thing I do after I finish my rough draft, the very first time, I will just completely write the story from the beginning to the end and just keep going and going and going and not pausing. The whole story out on paper, but when I go back through it the second time, I call fill in the blanks. So what happens is a lot of times my scenes are a little bit lacking in description or some a little beef it up, and so I will go back through my book and I will fill in the blanks. So I did this a lot with my fantasy books. I would write a whole scene and then I would go back through it and I'd be like, you know what, I'm going to get this a little more detailed, a little more in depth on all the blanks, and that really helps me in my editing stage. Not to worry about all the details the first time I'm writing, but just go back through the second time and fill in the blanks. The thing that I do is the reread for storyline issues. Now what that is like your character's here, they're in the bathroom, and all of a sudden, poof, they're in the kitchen, and you're like, wait, how did they get from the bathroom to the kitchen like that fast? It's gonna leave your reader so confused because they'll be like, wait, what? So that is something I look for when I edit. When I go back and edit again, and consistency, character consistency, such as hair color, eye color. You wouldn't believe how easy it is to get off with those little side characters. All of a sudden they have blue eyes, and now they have green eyes, and now they have purple eyes. The character has to stay consistent. Your characters have to, and a lot of times it's the side characters where you're just not thinking about it. You weren't really into those characters, so you don't even remember their hair color or their eye color. So look for that type of mistakes when you go through it again and edit. That's something I make sure it's consistent. I've actually had it where my character turned into a man suddenly. One of my beta readers told me, did your character have a sex change because now it's a guy? So I was like, no. Another editing tip for you is look for grammar mistakes and sentence flow. So look for those, be a little bit more tedious this time through when you're editing, be a little bit nitpicky. Sentence structure doesn't make you stumble, or sometimes a lot of times I'll do is I'll have a sentence and I literally just need to flip-flop it. It just needs to go this way instead of that way so that it reads smoother for other people. That I tend to do that quite a lot, and I think it's just my raw writing. And even though in my mind I know it should be the opposite when I reread it, raw writing comes out. Do not publish your raw writing, because that is generally some of the crappiest writing we do, is the raw writing. Look for those grammar mistakes, look for those commas, look for your sentence structure, and make sure that is all put together in the way you want it for that editing stage. And the very last editing stage that I go through is I read it out loud. Now I have a Kindle, so that helps me a lot. So with my Kindle, I'll just, hit it and it starts reading, and I put my headphones in and I'm listening, and then all of a sudden it'll read something completely screwy. What was I trying to say? So I'll, go and make a note on my Kindle all the time. So if you actually need an editing tool, I would advise getting a Kindle 3G. It's an old Kindle. It has a keyboard, so it really helps me out. I make notes and I enter in all my notes into my computer and delete the notes as I go. So that's a huge tool for me, is my Kindle. If you don't have a Kindle, read it out loud. Read it out loud to someone you know, or just read it out loud and make sure it sounds okay. So that's my last tip for you guys for editing. I hope you enjoyed this video, and good luck on your editing, because that is probably one of the crappiest stages of writing.